Yay, we're recording. Okay, so many new things going on here. So, we're talking about today in the seminar, Your Vibe Attracts Your Tribe. Is your digital DJ brand fresh enough? I am Stacy Nichols. I've been a DJ for 12 years and definitely my first time speaking virtually at a conference. So, we're going to just jump right in and get going, see how it goes. Today's set list, if you will, we'll be talking about branding, of course. That's when you say your vibe attracts your tribe. That's just a really popular marketing slogan for how to create a brand. I know that slogan, can be used in other circles, but for our purposes today, we're going to look at it through the lens of branding. Then we will talk about why your brand matters. I have some examples of some sexy DJ brands for you so you can get inspired. And then after that, I will actually talk about how to brand your DJ business. And it's really not something like cut here, fold there, put in the oven for 10 minutes, kind of a step-by-step thing. Branding is really about how you think and your mindset, but I have tried as hard as I can to kind of make it into something concrete that you can follow along with. And finally, I have a brand writing formula for you, which is very cut and dried and very concrete. Okay, so what is branding? This is a definition that I really like because I feel like a lot of definitions are really not accurate, but this one from Seth Godin is awesome. He says, a brand is a set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that, taken together, account for a consumer's decision to choose one service over another. If you look on like entrepreneur.com, literally right now, you will see a definition of branding that's like, a brand is your logo. You'll see that in a lot of places. That's a really outdated definition. And yes, definitely, 40 years ago, whatever, in the 80s, it was very common to just think, oh, branding, you create a logo and then you wallpaper your logo everywhere. You buy all the billboards and all the ads and you sponsor everything, give out free t-shirts. And that was really the concept behind branding a couple of years ago. Definitely not so today. Very, very different experience today. Literally everything now is considered part of your brand. So, if they struggle finding your contact form on your website, or if you're making them laugh, or if they're annoyed by your bad grammar or whatever, all of these type of things are considered part of your branding now. It's literally anything that's a part of the experience of hiring you or working with you or shopping for your services. Anything like that is considered branding today. Okay, so why does all of this matter? I have some very specific examples for you from our industry. So hopefully this really sinks in. So in 2015, the average bride spent $2,300 on her wedding flowers. She spent almost $1,500 on her wedding dress. So the total investment in things that served only one purpose, which was to make her and her wedding look sexy, was almost $4,000. So ultimately, as DJs, we already know we're familiar, like year to year, these numbers are always the same, right? This is not a shock to anybody. But nevertheless, we're going to use this to our advantage, okay? So same year, same bride, she spends an average of $273 on her wedding officiant and $1,171 on her MC/DJ. So the total investment in functional things that if they do not show up, she will not have a wedding. They will make or break her day. Is less than what she spent on the wedding dress altogether. And it's half of what she spent on the aesthetics, less than half of what she spent on the aesthetic stuff. Okay, so why is this important, right? Because as DJs, we need to understand kind of where we have to work harder, and this is definitely one of those things. Okay, so if you don't like sales, if you're one of those people, it's like, oh, I hate closing the sale, and then branding is the answer for you, because if you brand properly, by the time they've already, gotten to the point of sitting down with you or getting on the phone with you, they're going to be sold already. You're not going to have to use your energy to know like high pressure sales tactics. You can use your energy to create a brand. Okay. So literally all people, brides and grooms included, buy because of emotion. And if you've ever been to a sales seminar, you've already heard that a million times. People do not buy because of selling features, oh, this jacket's rainproof and the zipper is such and such. If the jacket makes them look ugly, they're not going to buy it. It has to hit them in that emotional place. Okay. We don't buy because of bullet point lists or a testimonial about a regret that somebody wished they had got the uplights, or the lists of the budget suggestions for your wedding. People also are not using these they might, look at them or whatever, but that's not what's going to be the final deciding factor on their wedding purchase. Okay. So as people that are purveyors of unsexy things like sound systems and uplights, it's particularly important that we understand why our brand is so important and doing so much of our selling for us. Okay. We can't just throw up a picture of flowers or of a dress and get that emotional reaction. Even when we throw up, mixes of music or pictures of crowded dance floors, there's still something that has to be translated in the brain between how that relates to hiring us. Do you know what I'm saying? I know you guys know this already. Nevertheless, we have to get a little bit more creative as DJs. And I'm going to teach you all how to do that. But one thing I want to talk about before we move on to the next thing here, so still under the Why Your Brand Matters theme, Rick Brewer, a wedding business coach, has created these things that he calls the 4 bride priorities. And essentially with an understanding of these 4 things, and if you create your brand with an understanding of these things and even kind of built around these things, it is so much more powerful. And you'll see some examples coming up later in the presentation. But the first thing is to impress. Okay. So when the guests walk into the ceremony or walk into the room, she wants wow factor. She wants pop. When they take the first bite of the dinner, she wants them to be salivating like, this is the best whatever I've ever had. They want the guests to be impressed. The second thing, and again, I think a lot of us already know this on some level, but maybe have not consciously realized this is what's happening. But number 2 is that there is a silent, unspoken contest going on all over the world right now called Who Had the Best Wedding? It could be with her and her cousins. It could be between her and everybody on her favorite wedding blog. It could be her and everybody from this season at that venue or whatever. But she's competing in that contest to have the best wedding. Number 3, enjoy. We know this already as DJs. Clearly, people tell us all the time, week in and week out, they want to have fun at their weddings. Finally, Cinderella. Now, this is important because we've seen weddings change so much, even in the last 10 years, where, everybody used to come into the wedding march, and now you literally never play the wedding march. I don't even remember the last time I played the wedding march. I really, even for older couples, like they don't want it anymore either. Nobody wants it. But we're taking out cake cuttings. We're taking out parent dances. We're adding step parent dances. We're having all the parents dance together. We're doing things in all these creative out of the box ways. But one thing that is not changing is having an aisle and walking down it. Okay, I've had a bride who was in a full leg cast, still wanted to walk down the aisle. Had a bride whose groom was missing a leg. They still walk down the aisle. That was goth wedding on Halloween. So creative people, but we're still having our Cinderella moment. Anyway, I've done a lot of weddings where a lot of things have been cut out. Like the guy without the leg, they didn't have a first dance. Why? So he can be in pain for 3 minutes, but they still have the Cinderella entrance. ThinkSplendid.com is like a wedding coaching, business coaching site for high-end weddings. And they report that 77% of engaged couples list having fun as their top wedding priority. Again, not a shock. We hear this day in and day out, right? But what we're not understanding, especially when it comes to putting together our brand, is that they don't want just the reception to be fun. If the entire experience of working with you before that was unfun, by the time they get to the reception, they're already going to be like with the negative cooties on them. You know what I mean? The vibe that you attracted was like not fun. You see what I'm saying? So shopping for you, hiring you, planning with you, responding to your emails, like getting your invoices, all of that stuff needs to be made as fun as possible and rolled into your brand concept. You really do need to make the extra effort to think, how can I make this past due notice a little less crappy, right? Like you really do need to like put the funny GIFs on there or whatever it is so that they are having a fun experience with you from the first contact through the last. Ever heard this? One of my favorites. In fact, you might even hear it at the Wedding MBA. But you need to educate the couple about your value. Now, let me just ask this, okay? If buying is emotional, how impactful is it really to educate the shopper? We have all made purchases of a car that was not the safest car on the market. Literally, if you look out on the road, you will see that not everybody is driving a Volvo or whatever is currently the safest car being made. Why aren't we all driving the safest car that's being made? Because we buy because of emotion. Somebody wanted a convertible. Somebody wanted a red car. Somebody wanted a sports car, classic car. Like, did educating those people that like your, 56 Corvette isn't gonna be very safe, did that make that guy not buy it? No, of course not. Like, so, while let people know what you do, but you really have to understand we're dealing with emotional decisions, okay? And that is why putting the effort into having a sexy brand is so important. They will already be sold by the time they contact you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some sexy DJ brands that I have as examples to get you guys inspired. First one is Lovesick, and this company is from Philadelphia. Lovesick is DJs, but they also do videography and some other things. Nevertheless, I actually met them at the my first wedding MBA that I went to, which was 5-ish years ago or so, 7 years ago maybe. But anyway, the guys from Lovesick, they struck me as really cool, so I thought I'm gonna check out their website, and I'm so glad I did because it's refreshing. So put this on your list of things to do here. But this page really struck me, okay? Couple of things that I notice. Are either of them making eye contact in their headshots? No. Are either of them even looking at the camera? Mm-mm. What about smiling? Anybody smiling there? No. Okay. I think this is unrelated, but I felt like when I was preparing the presentation, this might actually be of value to you guys, especially because I know I'm talking to like 95-ish% men right now. I'm single, I'm on Tinder, and after so many frustrating years of being single, you're like, maybe I should Google what picture on my profile is the most effective. So I did that once. And in the article, they talked about, for women, this picture, these type of pictures get swiped on the most and whatever. But obviously they talked about the men in this article too. And I read it because I thought it was interesting. But men that have pictures on their Tinder profiles, the top picture, in which they are not smiling and not looking at the camera, get swiped on like a gazillion% more than guys that are looking full frontal at the camera and or smiling. I don't know if these guys knew this or if this is just some interesting coincidence, but it's something that I would, suggest to you guys to when you redo your headshots the next time. Keep that in mind. Okay. Another thing I notice about this site and this page is all of the empty space, okay? Studies suggest that spaciousness is associated for people with high quality and regalness and, you know, top brands. You know, think about like an Apple store. It's this huge empty room with like 2 tables in it. Think about the 99-cent store. The aisles are narrow. Stuff is just packed in there. Sometimes there's things in boxes on the floor because they didn't fit on the shelves. Tightly packed suggests cheapness. So make sure there is some white space on your website, okay? That's gonna contribute to the sexiness we are trying to convey. This is a picture of their blog. Again, I think you're kind of understanding the vibe of the site here. This is a picture of the DJing page, their turntable DJs. If you spin on turntables, please make sure to have some images of that. Next one, Toast and Jam. This is a female head company from Chicago. And she was actually going to speak at Mobile Beat this year. So I don't know if that worked out or whatever. Nevertheless, I love the concept of the site. We are used to seeing what when we first open a DJ site? Picture of a dance floor, or perhaps a picture of a gear or whatever, but usually it's a picture of a dance floor. But here we have like these cartoony images, they're hand-drawn. It's very unique and different. I love the color scheme also. It's very unique. If you scroll further down the page, you'll see this black and white video of this kind of couple going about their DJ planning, which is very cool video. I love on this page the U plus DJ, very cute. All their headshots are black and white. Okay, next one, this is Black Tie Productions, and this is actually a former business coaching client of mine, and when he contacted me, he was like, website is just kind of generic. Can you help me out? Sure. So I look over the site, and like on the 3rd or 4th page that I read, at the bottom of the page, there was a mention of "We are your event superheroes." And I was like, Craig, that's it. You know, that's the brand, like base everything around that concept, the superhero concept. So he created this kind of comic book themed, comic book colored, you know, the boom, everything based around the superhero comic book kind of vibe. And what do we see here on this page that speaks to Rick Brewer's bride priority number 4, Cinderella? We see the Superman DJ carrying away the bride like Lois Lane, rescuing her, right? I don't feel like I'm going to be stressed out at this wedding. Look how these guys are going to be taking care of me, right? Okay, and this is our final example. This is Indie Wedding DJ from Toronto. And you're probably thinking, why did you include this site? It is very plain. It is, absolutely it is. But I included it because it went to, well, I attended virtually a webinar that he presented a couple of years ago called Secrets of a High-End Wedding Pro. This was from bookmorebrides.com, and he shared all of his sales numbers, and I was blown away by how much money this single op DJ is making, all because his brand is based around playing indie music. And it really, again, shows the point that the concept or the experience of the brand is a lot more important than the aesthetic. There are plenty of pretty websites out there, not so many in the DJ community, okay? I'm in the mobile DJ community, but there are in the wedding industry for sure. So just something to consider. If you're not into doing some foofy stuff with your site, that's fine, but both is definitely gonna be a double threat. These are some notes that I took from the webinar that Justin gave. He's the owner of Indie Wedding DJ. So just check out these numbers, okay? In the previous year, he had done 114 weddings at $2,500 a pop. So reasonable to assume after expenses, he made somewhere in the ballpark of $250,000. In his first 3 years, he was making less than $20,000 a year, charging $450 per wedding. He eventually reached a point where he was not paying for advertising from Wedding Wire or The Knot, and it was just all word of mouth, booking his calendar 114 weddings a year. Literally just all because playing indie music in the Toronto market, that was the brand concept that took. Okay, so now we're going to talk. Of course, my cat says hi, everybody. Do other cats say hi? This is DJ Whiskers. Do other cats say hi on people's on their presentations here? Okay, so excuse me. As I was saying earlier, it's really hard to break down branding like you do this and then you do that. It is a way of thinking about what you're going to write about your business, what pictures you're going to put up on your site, what design elements, outfits. I mean, literally everything. It's a way of thinking, okay? Now, having said that, I am going to guide you through that thinking process as best as I can. Okay, the first thing, which I would say, because of their level of importance, I'm going to consider them steps 1 through 50. Excuse me. And that would be authenticity and outrageous transparency. Now, I put outrageous transparency in quotes because that is something Gary Vaynerchuk says that I borrowed from him. But I absolutely think it is the perfect phrasing to understand how important it is to strip back the layers and just be like the raw subflooring under the building. No more pretensions, no more shoulder pads, no more saying we when it's just I because you're a single op, okay? Why is this important, okay? Again, seminars called Your Vibe Attracts Your Tribe. If my vibe is stiff and stuffy, I'm probably gonna, that's the people I'm booking are people that maybe they don't really care that much about the DJ, but they know they need to have one. If I'm expressing like my uniqueness and individuality by wearing things, doing things, saying things that not every other DJ is putting out there, like maybe I'm really into skateboarding and I have all kinds of like skateboarding stuff on my DJ site because that is who I am. That is me being authentic and outrageously transparent. I'm probably going to end up booking a lot more like skateboarding gigs and also working with clients that think that and the culture of skateboarding is a good fit for them and what they would want for their DJ and their wedding. I kind of touched on this right now on the previous slide, but the thinking about it like rude versus polite. In the old school way of marketing, you know, in the 80s or whatever, business and branding and everything was polite. You used formal language. You know, you kind of, again, with the shoulder pads, like puffed yourself up, a facade. Rude, on the other hand, I'm going to use the example of swearing. I think this is obviously a perfect example. Like swearing is pretty common on business websites these days, or at least you could say it's not uncommon. And most of us, when we speak, we swear from time to time. Some of us swear a lot. Like if this was a swear jar, I could probably fill it up by the end of the day. You can make a decision. Am I going to use stiff, formal language that doesn't sound like the way I would talk to my friends on my website, or am I going to talk on my website the way that I would speak to my friends, or the way that I would speak casually? That's kind of, so that's another lens that you can use, rude versus polite, when you're thinking, should I use this picture or that picture? Should I write it this way or should I write it that way? Ask yourself, am I being too polite? And we'll talk about that more coming up in a little bit. Another way of thinking about authenticity and outrageous transparency is getting rid of the concept of like B2B or B2C, meaning you sell business to business or you sell business to consumer. That was like the mindsets from the days of yore, okay? Now, in 2020, it's H to H. Whether you sell commercial or wholesale or whatever you do. Like everybody sells person to person. If you're a multi-op, you're still human beings. And if you're, working with a corporate client, whoever your contact person is still a human being. Connection is key. How many of you guys have heard of a USP? Or you've been in some kind of webinar, maybe again, even at the Wedding MBA, and you hear people say like, oh, it's all about finding your USP. A USP is a unique selling principle. And it's basically like, well, I've tattooed my face purple, so that's the unique thing about me that should make you want to hire me, because I have this one thing that's different, although it could be completely irrelevant. Like tattooing my face purple is not making me a better DJ. It's just making me a lady with a purple face. Okay. We all provide sound systems. We all mix music. We all MC. We all have lights. Like the overlap between what we all do is pretty ridiculous, right? So rather than trying to think like, what can I do to make myself, different from everybody else, like skip the purple face tattoo and just think about, okay, so I do what everybody else does. How can I be more me doing that? Do I need to, put up my skateboarding pictures or whatever? Here's some examples of H to H versus the old school way of thinking like B to C, okay? Just to really hit this home for you guys. H to H is a real person with a real name who live chats with you using their own words and even making some spelling mistakes. B to C is a customer service rep that reads a script which is full of professional, impersonal language. H to H is finding your own voice and telling your story in your way. B to C is having like a formula, step-by-step process that says, you need to write it like this, or you need to have this element, whatever. H to H is answering your leads' pricing questions without any trickery or delay, treating them the way you'd like to be treated with no runaround. B to C would be like asking your lead before they've, set up a call or anything, asking them if they want to book a meeting with you and saying, here's your calendar link, which you can schedule the meeting yourself. H to H would be like showing your flaws. Well, actually, I haven't played at that venue before, or whatever, okay? Being real, like you would be with your friends, having a sense of humor, just literally humanity, okay? B to C is presenting yourself as some sort of infallible machine that's clean cut and squared away. H to H is outside the lines versus neat and tidy. Personal versus corporate and bureaucratic. Real versus fake. Fresh versus stale. Okay, so hopefully that really brings home the point. Another way to think about it is what I like to call shoulder pad marketing. And the whole concept, like in the 80s, if you were in business, if you were a person of power, if you held a corporate job or an office job, you were expected, really expected every day to show up to work as a professional wearing shoulder pads. If you did not have shoulder pads on, were you not professional? Like, was there something wrong with you? Do you even work here, right? Like that, it was like a uniform was required every day to go to work in the 80s if you were in the business community. And shoulder pads are facades. They are fake. They are polite. They are all the things that I am telling you we're not doing anymore. So I'm trying to explain like the same thing in several different ways. So hopefully this is just another way for you guys to understand the mindset of what you need to bring to the brand. Okay, and one final thing that we'll talk about before we move on to step 51 is some pictures being authentic and outrageously transparent. Now, we had some pictures of guys earlier. These are two of my female wedding colleagues, friends. On the left is Liz Daly. She's a DJ from Virginia. And on the right is Candace Prather. She's a wedding planner from Washington, D.C. Liz is one of those people, if you catch her at 4 o'clock any day of the week, she's probably on her way to a happy hour, okay? That's her energy, her personality, her vibe. What does she throw up in the picture here with herself? A drink in a sexy cup, like that. It's so Liz, like it makes you think like it's just one of those perfect things. Now, in the picture of Candace, she's belly laughing. And I freaking love it. Like, she doesn't have to tell me that working with her is fun. I can see that she is fun, and working with her seems like it would probably also be fun. Okay, but these are what authentic and transparent headshots look like. Okay, so if you're standing by this is a real wood wall, by the way, but if you're standing by a fakey backdrop and, you know, you have shoulder pads on and you're just real estate agent smile, time to update the headshots, okay? All right, so let's move on to 51. Your vibe attracts your tribe. But what we also need to make sure that our brand images and wording do is repel the people we don't want to work with, which means we need to not be Jack and Jane of all trades. No, I don't do video screens. No, I don't play on turntables, or whatever it is, you know, I don't play Latin music. Okay, great, repel those people. Okay, here's an example. This is from an iteration of my website at some point in the last couple of years. It says, my epic dance floor energy recipe. I spin those guilty pleasure everybody faves in a fresh way by creating my own remixes, sprinkling in a few long lost loves, and mixing seamlessly. Okay, so who I am trying to attract. So let's think about indie wedding DJ. Do I want to work with the couples that he would work with? No, because I say I spin guilty pleasure everybody faves. You want to hear Don't Stop Believin' at your wedding or do a line dance? I'm your person, right? If you are one of those couples that never plans to set foot on the dance floor after dinner, you plan to work the room and visit with people and so forth, like, should we be working together? Because I plan to bring some epic dance floor energy. So those are people that are not really interested in sweating for 3 hours after dinner. I don't really want to work with them. I want to have epic dance floor energy people, okay? So have a clear understanding of who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. Okay. Brand writing formula. Many of you guys might know Marie Forleo. She has a best-selling book out right now called Everything is Figureoutable. She also has a program called the Copy Cure, which is to teach copywriting. And one of the things that she says is boring copy is going to kill your business. And you know what makes your copy boring? You're too damn polite, too freaking nice, yawn, and it makes your stuff crap to read. No offense, but it's true, and we both know it. Why is this writing so effective? First of all, because she's not being polite. Remember, I talked about the dichotomy of rude versus polite. Okay, she's not being polite. She's ripping the Band-Aid off. She's raw. She's real. She's used the words damn and crap. So she's speaking, you know, colloquially. She's speaking the way that casual, normal people talk. And she's making a very good point. Because it's authentic. She figured out what it is that's authentic and she's communicating that. Okay, so that's the point of writing for your brand, is whatever it is that you are, whoever it is that you are as a DJ, as a company, communicating that, translating that into the text on your website, on your profiles, all of that stuff. That's what brand writing or copywriting refers to, okay? First step, very easy. You are going to, the Knot or Wedding Wire, you're going to read 10 or more of your competitors' profiles. Next thing you're going to do while you're going through the profiles is you're going to make a list of those kind of boring, heard this a million times, cliche kind of words and phrases. And this is going to become your writing do not playlist. Okay, I'm going to talk about all these things further in depth, but this is just to give you an overview. Step 3, you are going to pull out all of the common themes from your online reviews. So what couples have already said about your services, and those themes are fours, okay? You're organized, you're punctual, you're high energy. And you're gonna take those things, you're gonna turn them into 2+2. So we're not spoon feeding them, hi, I'm fun. We're gonna tell a story or give an example or have a detail or whatever that says the same thing, okay? And then 4, rewrite your profiles and your website copy with the new 2+2s minus any of our do not play words, okay? So let's jump in here. So step 1, looking through your competitors' profiles, easy peasy. Next thing you're gonna do while you're going through the profiles is you're gonna make the list of the stuff that you see in the descriptions on the profiles that is just overdone and boring. My all-time least favorite thing to ever hear any company say, ever, like it will put me in a bad mood if I hear it, is we've raised the bar. Now, it annoys me as a former NCAA All-American high jumper where we actually raise the bar, because none of these people are actually raising a bar in any sense at all. The other thing, I mean, obviously it's way overdone. We hear it all the time, right? But the other thing about it is it's just not specific. And if you really look at this list, none of these things are really specific. They're just filler. They're fluff. They're shoulder pads, okay? So figure out what all the shoulder paddy terms are for our industry and your market, make a list, and then those are things we cannot use in our writing from any further. Okay, so step 3, we have the list. Now you're gonna go through your reviews, what previous clients have said about you and your company, and you're gonna pull out the themes. Okay, I see professional in a lot of these. I see organized in a lot of these. I see fun in a lot of these, or whatever they are, okay? So you have a list of these things. You're gonna turn those 4s, the frequently repeated nice things clients say about you, into 2+2. Okay, so we're not spoon feeding them, I'm fun. We're going to give them vivid stories and detailed examples. Here are some examples. Here are the 2+2s explaining what is a 2+2. A 4 would be, working with me is fun. No, if you gotta tell people you're fun, you're not fun. Okay, just get that squared away, okay? A 2+2 of that would be, let me buy you some overpriced juice or a bowl of pho, and we'll have a chuckle about the cummerbund your cousin's DJ wore a few weeks ago, and we'll start plotting how your wedding will take over the world. Wah, ha, 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 ha. Why is the wedding taking over the world? Why? Because of Rick Brewer's principle number 2, that there's a secret contest about who's gonna have the best wedding, and she wants to win. Okay. Next one, whatever your version of I'm talented or I'm a really great DJ is, how about if you not give them the shoulder paddy version and you actually peel back the layers and you get outrageously transparent? I have performed everywhere from the Vegas Strip to one of the world's largest music festivals to celebrity weddings and for companies like Victoria's Secret and LA Fitness. Oh, okay. I'm not telling people I'm talented. Like, here's the proof. The proof is in the pudding. Give them the story. Give them the details. My wedding outlines are so organized. With this one, it's boring, right? So I had to dig deep. What can I say about wedding outlines that's going to be fun? So, song quote. Swedish House Mafia. Don't you worry, child, because I've got a plan for you. This is why I am a singer and not a DJ. Nevertheless, you get the vibe. And then it says, click to enlarge on one of my signature OCD wedding outlines. So yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead and show them the outline. It's not really that emotional thing that's gonna make the sale though, but it's there. And step 3, again, another way to think of the 2+2+4s, 2+2s, not 4s. A 2+2 is showing, while a 4 is telling. Stop telling people I'm fun. Just show them you're fun with a story or an example or a detail or something. Finally, rewrite your profiles and your website homepage with the new 2+2s minus any of our do not play samey snoozy words and phrases. Okay. That's it, you guys. I hope this was really helpful for you. Feel free to reach out. I got my phone number and my email address here. I do offer coaching and consulting, which you can learn more about at weddingbizconsultant.com. And, you know, I miss seeing your reactions and like seeing your hands up and being able to interact with all of you. So really, like, feel very comfortable to reach out if you have any questions or comments or feedback whatsoever. My Instagram is also up here, Trackstar DJ. Love to hear from you guys. So thank you so much for being here at the presentation. Wedding MBA, I know this was a crazy year. Thank you guys for having me back. And thank you.